Oh, right, we are live. My name is Peter Russo for 101 Small Business Mastermind, and today we have with us our absolutely stellar group that has to mute their phones again. Good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Dick.
Say good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Dick.
Now, for all those that are used to our show, you can see Frank is wearing his earbuds, and he's doing this show from his iPhone. So we're trying that, and you'll all will understand that later, what that all means to us today as we're getting ready for a big event. All right, first off for me, Google, the evil empire, is restructuring. Google is now part of a new company called Alphabet. And I just can't wait to see what the evil empire is growing up. Oh, hang on. Our live show is in my ear. Sorry. I said, wait a second. What's up with that? So our live part of our show is functioning fine over at our new website. But anyway, Google restructuring. They're going to, I think, roll in the Uber or the cars, the Google cars, and Google's going to try to get us to live longer so we can pay more. And all those other kind of off-the-wall projects are going to be folded in under the alphabet soup recipe. So more on that. And then my next favorite thing, let me get over here and find what I want to look at. Right here is what I want. And I can't wait for this movie to come out. Back over here and share. Yelp is having a movie made of them. And it's called The $1 Billion Bully. And of course, Yelp is furious at these group of Michael Levin. I'm sure no connection to the great Levine. But they're going to make this movie that shows how these guys are essentially doing mob practices by extortion, and they are, and protection money, and maneuvering, negative comments up to the top and restructuring them. And of course, Yelp denies all of that, but that's exactly what they do. So I can't believe that this is finally coming out. And they're the next evil empire, but $1 billion bully ought to be great. And then down in the comments, which I actually find more fun reading the comments than anything these days, they ought to make a movie about how Google psychologically influences, frequently methodologically, or is inadequate, frequently ideologically tainted by its bias, psychologically motivated personal bias, et cetera, on social science. It's amazing how brilliant mathematicians and scientists can be so irrational, confused, and unaware of the facilities that they themselves use when examining social questions, science, economic, politics, gender, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, this guy named Plain Truth, by the way, spells it out. I mean, here's Google saying they're not going to send me any organic traffic because I have a weapon. And they made a political statement that they're not going to support any weapons of any type, and da-da-da-da. They're bullies, So anyway, this has got quite a fervor going to it. I'll put this in the show notes. But, they even claim Angie's List is very similar in the way that it's structured. So people shouldn't be using Angie's List, and Yelp or fake reviews, and quite the fervor, I would say. What do you guys think about that?
Sounds like a topic out of Bernie Sanders' playbook. Sounds like Big Brother is going to come in and let's let the free market roll. Let the free market do its thing. If you don't like what the big guy is doing, go to a not as big a guy or gal and do business with them. That's my feeling.
Well,
yeah.
So what I find interesting is Yelp is known for I guess you could say extorting businesses to get a good review, and now because they got someone that's much bigger, they're starting to whine about it a little bit. So I find it interesting. It's almost like two politicians talking, to be honest with you. And I believe that Google is the bully of the world. But hey, you gotta give them credit for building a business in such a way that they can be.
Yeah, I just hate being on the subject of they're beating me up all the time. Hey, but now great segue. Thanks, Dick. I should pay you for that. Last week we watched the debate off of Fox. I was so upset with Fox. I think all of us were. I don't watch Fox News anymore. And that goes for Bill O'Reilly and Hannity and the rest of them, and the Megyn Kelly hack job that they did on Trump just upset the heck out of me. You want to weigh in on that, Frank, before I tell the good news?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I felt the exact same way. And this is reminiscent of, remember the debate between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, and Candy Crowley interrupted Mitt Romney and agreed with Obama, and everything changed from that debate forward. I was so upset that I said I will never watch CNN again, and I hadn't for 3.5 years, or whatever, 2.5, whatever the time frame is. I was so upset, starting with the first question on the Republican debate from Brett Baer, and going on, that I now banished Fox News from my TV set, and I have not watched them and will not watch them until I change my mind. And so I understand how you feel. They promote themselves as being fair and balanced. They were unfair and definitely not in balance, as far as I was concerned.
I agree. Dick, you feel the same way about that?
No, I don't. I do agree that there was some. The initial question I thought was horrendous. I don't think that was fair to Donald Trump at all. It was set up to get Donald Trump, so I think that was bad. I think Megyn Kelly probably went on a little bit too long about Trump's treatment of women, and I think the last question when they started asking about is God guiding you and all, I thought that was unfair. I do think though that the tough questions were necessary because they're going to be on CNN in another 2 or 3 weeks. And so on, and then they're going to be debating Hillary Clinton or whoever the Democrats nominate, and they're not going to, if they thought they're treated unfairly with Fox, wait till they get to ABC, NBC, and CNN. So I agree with part of it. I didn't go to the point. I still watch Fox, and I think it's a good station, and they made a mistake, and I think in 3 areas, but overall I didn't get quite that infuriated.
Yeah, I was beside myself. I think those questions were completely legitimate if there was a one-on-one interview. The other hack job about Rosie O'Donnell and calling women this and that and some woman getting on her knees was taken out of context. The woman actually even weighed in and said, yeah, I did get on my knees. I was begging somebody on the premises not to throw me off, but they take a snippet, just like CNN and the rest of the people do to manipulate it, and would lead you to believe that he said these things that were awful when he did not. So one-on-one interview with facts, not slanted stuff, but facts, completely legitimate. But they should have asked every one of those people the same darn question if that was the case, these tough questions. So anyway, my point. Your lead-in music here.
Yeah. There you go. Love it.
Recordings. And
love that sound. That sound can only mean one thing. We're back in the 50s, or it's This Week in the News. We call it Twin. Small business lessons we get from the newspaper. And this week's Twin is, hey, John Moorfield, thank you for the small business lesson. And the first question always is, who the heck is John Moorfield? Well, let me tell you about John. John is 27 years old, and he's an architect, and he lives in Seattle, Washington. And back in 2008, John was only 20. You remember that was the year of the housing bust. John was laid off twice that year from 2 separate architectural firms, and he lost his job because there was just no work to be had. This is 2008. And he was not alone. That year alone, 60,000 architects lost their job. So John had a lot of competition trying to get another job. So what did John do? Well, did John do what the other 60,000 out-of-state architects did? You know, what all of them did. They sent out a bunch of resumes. They followed up their resume sending with a follow-up call. They cold called, they knocked on doors, they attended trade shows, and they networked with friends and family, anybody looking for a job. No, John did none of these things. He knew that it would be fruitless, that there would be way too much competition. So what did John do? Well, John, as it turns out, is a big fan of the Peanuts cartoon. You know, Peanuts and Schroeder and Linus. And he remembered Lucy. He remembers what Lucy did. I'll remind you, Lucy would set up a little stand with a handwritten sign at the top that said psychiatric help for 5 cents. And John said to himself, it's time to do a booth. So John built his own booth out of plywood and hand-painted a sign above his booth that read, Architecture, 5 cents. The following Sunday morning, John went down to the local farmer's market in his area of Seattle and set up his booth between a stand that sold freshly caught fish and a stand that sold locally produced honey. Obviously the place where people go to get architectural help, right? And then he set up a silver tin can and waited for the nickels to cling in the can. And when they did, John would talk to his paying clients. Remember, they paid 5 cents. He didn't do it for free. And John would answer questions and issues like, hey, my kitchen's too small. What do you suggest I do? You know what? I don't like the way my bathroom is set up. What do you suggest? Or I want to add an extra story to my house. Give me some ideas. And John would say, drop a nickel in and let's talk. And just about every person that stopped by, he would capture their email address, and sometimes a nickel, sometimes people didn't have a nickel, and maybe an opportunity to be hired by the homeowner. And here was John's motto. He had three parts to his motto. He says, every good design deserves great ideas. John gave great ideas. He says, no job is too small for big ideas. John had big ideas. And John says, be good, and John was good. Well, as you can imagine, the local and national media, TV, radio, and newspapers heard about the guy offering architectural advice for 5 cents, and they did a story on him. That gave him great exposure and stature. So how did John do his first year? He made over $50,000, more than he had ever made as an architect working for a firm. Great story, John Moorfield. So what's a small business lesson? And here it is. Is your business not growing as fast as you'd like? Are you sick and tired of spending big bucks on traditional advertising and not getting results? Are you doing what everybody else is doing, trying to get leads? When was the last time you read the Sunday newspaper cartoons? Be different, do something different, and give them something to talk about, to quote that lady that sang that song. Give them something to talk about. And gentlemen, that's my twin for this week. Thank you, John Moorfield. That's it.
All right.
So Frank, has he gone on to form his own company? Is he still doing the?
You know, Dick, I wanted to find out where the hell he is right now, and I don't know what it is. I know that for a couple of years he set up his own website, and he had, you know, because of the weather, he had problem with the Seattle food market. He would have a virtual nickel on his website where people would drop in a virtual, just with the noise, and they would email him questions, and he got quite a few jobs. But I do not know what he's doing today. I could not find out. I mean, he may have passed away for all I know.
Yeah, right.
But what a clever, out of the box thinking idea.
Yeah.
And talk about exposure. I mean, newspapers sent down guys to articles. TV had news cameras there taking video shots. We're interviewing him and people. And I mean, I was blown away. I was
Yeah.
blown away by John Moorfield,
Hmm.
and I give him credit.
Yeah. You know.
Well, can you imagine at the Orange County Fair,
Yeah.
you walk by a booth
Right.
and it says web design advice, 5 cents,
Right.
and
I was
there's
just
Peter,
thinking the same
Yeah.
damn thing.
and there
But
is Peter.
Just go
yeah,
down to the
do it
COP
up
Street
here.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a huge one, and not now because of the weather, but seriously. But you know, Frank, that kind of goes back. Last week in the podcast, part of my thing, I said, you know, there's two types of people in the world: those who make it happen, and those who wonder what the hell happened. And you know, to me, that's just a living example of a guy that could sit back and say, "Geez, what just happened to me?" or make something happen. You have to be the make it happen person.
right on,
Yes.
right on.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think after your block here, Dick, I want to talk about. I had, my
Yeah,
2-minute video thing.
Absolutely.
That's out of the box thinking.
Right. Absolutely.
So, all right, Dick, let's take your C block, and then we'll turn around into the D block and head out a bunch of cool stuff for people to learn about.
Well, Peter, I'm still a little bit. It's hard for me to concentrate as you showed the potential guests you're going to be bringing on the show. So if I stumble here, forgive me.
Wait till she's on.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, listen. Listen. That's a good way to start this because I want to talk about the importance of listening, and I'll just relate. And I talked about this on a podcast. It was a long time ago. I just want to refresh it. When I started the sales, it was 65 years ago, 1965, and I'd been married for a couple of years, and I was working in a warehouse of electronics distributor called Kramer Electronics, and they had an opening for sales, and I was telling my wife and my mother-in-law that I wanted to apply for it, and my mother-in-law said, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And I said, "Yeah, why not? You don't think I can do it?" She says, "Well, you don't talk very much," which I don't. I really, on here I do, but my wife and I have flown across country without saying a word to each other, and not because we're angry. It's just that we don't talk a lot. So my response to her was, "No, but I really listen." And as I got in sales, got successful, I started being a sales manager and all. I would counsel my salespeople that selling is 70% listening and 30% presenting and responding. And I think that's the art of listening is because of this soundbite world we're living in. People just don't listen very well. And I know we're supposed to get things in 27 seconds because we lose them and all that. But you still, if you're a businessman and you're trying to improve your business, you're trying to get clients, you're trying to grow your business, you have to listen to your customer. You have to listen to them and listen intently. And there's a philosopher once said that listening is like love. You give if you give, you get it back. So you listen to the guy, and listening is not just listening to the words. Listening is listening to what he says. And I think there's a couple of things that you need to do, and I'm guilty of one of them. I'm not going to. The first one is resist the temptation to monopolize a conversation, that's obvious. The second one I am truly guilty of. It's avoid judging the speaker too soon. Man, I have a problem with that. I'm just such a first impression person, and I often say, well, I'm probably right about 70% of the time. Well, realistically, I'm probably not right 50% of the time. Don't fake attention because then the guy's going to ask you a question. You're not going to be able to answer it. And here's the part that I think there's two parts here: is listen for ideas as well as ideas as well as facts. Because as you're listening to them, you could be processing at the same time in your mind an idea or a presentation or a thought coming back. And the real big part of listening is be alert to nonverbal clues or body language. If you're not reading the body language of the person you're trying to present to or sell to or partner with, you're missing everything. To me, that's the biggest thing that I pride myself on. I'm a pretty good reader of body language when I'm talking to people and all, and I absolutely rely on that. So, just like I said, it'll be a quick segment because I've talked about it before. be a good listener. In this soundbite world, be a good listener. Don't turn off. If you're trying to partner up with somebody or do business with somebody, you have to let them tell you what's important to them. That way you know what to say back to them and what process to give them. So that was a quick one I wanted to do, but I just thought it was important to redo it again. So that's it.
Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, I mean, I had that same took that advice yesterday, talking to a potential client. He kept saying he wants to do a certain thing, which I'm not really interested in doing, but I'll help him. I want to rebuild his website, but knowing that his first thing was to get this other thing done was AdWords. And so I said, let's just get your AdWords account back and let's get that going for you, you know.
Yeah.
And he said, what's it going to cost me to do that? I said, nothing. You know, you just need to take charge of it. You know, he went from, I guess, a 50,000 square foot facility and 49 employees down to him through this hard time. So I actually think it's worthwhile for every business owner to know how to clean a toilet, how to build a website. You know the right things to ask when you start hiring people. But
right.
that's sort of off to one side. Thinking out of the box, I guess it was a week ago Sunday, I started to put out my full up website review, which takes 4 hours to do ultimately, right? So you can't do more than 2 a day. But they're 40 to 45-minute videos teaching people about their particular website, what they got to fix, right? So I've used that as a marketing tool. And I got thinking, man, this is unsustainable. What can I do? So I created I challenged myself. I want a 2-minute video. And it has to be personalized. That's the first thing. And so let me just share. The listeners won't be able to hear me talk with it, but they will. Let me get over here. They will. Hello. There it is. Okay. But they will be able to see the video in the background, and I'll explain what it is. Let me share that. So basically, this is a 2-minute video, and I give them a generic piece about their website, and then here's their website. I find 3 things wrong with it. In this case, I'm talking about the font size is too small, and older people here who can afford pools need a bigger font size. And the other thing is, we know people don't read much anymore. They love to have video, so I'm talking about adding video to their site. And then here's the killer coming up. The site's not mobile friendly because Google a month ago made this whole thing out. If you're not mobile friendly, they're not serving you on mobile devices, which is a killer for a business. But that's just a killer. They won't even get listed with 65% of the people searching for what they want on mobile. And then here's the next killer. So I do the summary for them, what they need to fix, right? And then I say a split, A, B. Here's a site. Or going to the competitor, which is a gorgeous looking site. So here's the competitor or this one. What's a consumer going to do? It's going to go towards a pretty one. So now, with all that being said and done, I got myself talking in my own ear here. Let me stop sharing. So okay, I made a template in Camtasia so I could do it. Just drop in the quick review, and then produce it, put it up on the web, and send it to them. So currently, if you think about sending out an email to people, an email blast out to people, you're lucky if 1% even opens it, okay? Lucky. And that's wildly successful, kind of like a direct mail campaign letter. So it's a numbers game, and mine's a numbers game too. So, but in this case, I put 13 out over a week, okay? In 2 batches. I put a batch out yesterday, or the day before, and 2 of the emails came back as non-deliverable, so it's questionable whether they're still in business or not. So that really makes 11 that I sent out. Out of the 11, I have almost a 45% opening rate, okay, which is, wow, that's crazy. And out of the people that opened it, 80% of those people watched the video more than once. One watched it 9 times. I also, when my first batch was mailed out a week ago Monday, or this last Monday, I guess it was. I don't remember now, but it was a week ago Monday. Within an hour, I had the first call, and he's jockeying around to have his new website done by me. So this approach to do a highly targeted video that's personalized to their website or them, that somebody actually took the time to do that for them, to give them 3 things that will really help them that they may not even have known is a problem. Tell their webmaster to fix it for them, you know. And then, oh, by the way, I found 9 other things. If you want to know about those other 9 things, give me an email. Now, nobody's done that, which surprised me. But the whole concept of being able to send out a highly targeted email and get them to watch the video was pretty wild, I thought. Thoughts?
Well, I think it's spectacular. I really do, and I know we talked when you came up with the idea about it, and the thing that in almost any business, but in this networking world that we live in, it's a numbers game. The more people you get something in front of, the better shot you have of having someone contact you. And there are, 14, 11 or 14, whatever the number is, people that you would not have contacted without this. So that's 14 opportunities that you have. 45% open rate is probably unheard of in that type of a world. And and sometimes I have found in my business, I've contacted somebody and 3 months later they get back to me. So you can't really measure the overall success probably for 6 months, because people will ruminate and all. And then what I found is when the need comes up, all of a sudden they want you right away. And somebody's going to wake up one day, geez, my website is getting nothing. I'm not mobile friendly. Let me call Peter. So I think it's spectacular, Peter. I really do.
Well, the other piece of the puzzle that I didn't say is that I tell them I'm going to keep it up for 7 days only, so I do a scarcity play.
Yeah.
And I was going to take it down. That's what I threatened to do if they don't do something. But I'm going to move it to private, so they'll still have a link, and they go there to look at it, and then we'll say it's been moved to private. And then they'll have to contact me. Can I please see that again? So we'll see if how that works out. But I was taken back by the results, and I'm going to keep doing this because I can fill my coffers with people like this, you know. So out there, and I've challenged you to do the same thing, Dick. I actually made a video on how I did the video, and I sent it to you and Frank. And if we can construct a similar highly targeted video after your potential clients, if you have the same I'm going to get overflown by a helicopter here. If you have the same results, I mean, shoot, marvelous,
Well, that would only increase my, I guess, open rate by 100% maybe.
Gee, let's not do that.
Yeah. No,
Frank, what do you think of it?
Encouraging.
I'll give you some thoughts. We all talk about the 5-second rule, the 8-second rule, the 27-second rule. And I think one of the mistakes a lot of small businesses make is the minute somebody pays attention to them, which is open your email, take a call, we tell them who we are, how great we are, and we try to build credibility and stature, right? What you did, you said, hey, I've got something from you, and you made it all about them.
Right.
Right from the beginning. You took the first 5, 8 seconds, whatever it was, and you talked about them and their issues. And then you can get later on into build your credibility. And I thought that was brilliant.
That's a good point. Let me bring up the email that I send, and I'll share that screen once I get it up and going here. But I made a template, and I can share this in a minute here. Okay. Get over here, see if I can share this. Put the focus on me so you can see my screen when I go to share here. Okay, so this is the template. You guys see my screen here?
Yep.
So this is the template that I made. So I've done some extensive review of your site, which I did, and I made a video just for you. And this is, I put in however many problems I talk about in the video, which I target for 3. Sometimes it ends up being 4. I make sure they understand that it's unlisted. Excuse me, that it's unlisted on the website, so I don't embarrass anybody, or up on the web. I tell them I'm going to keep it up for 7 days and take it down to save space. That's a scarcity play. And I also found X number, in this case, 8 others you should fix. And if you want to know, contact me. But otherwise, here would be the link that after you upload it unlisted to YouTube, you put in the link here. Okay. Now, as I continue down through this, I have a link here that talks about for business, it's a sobering wake-up call to get to get up to speed on mobile. Otherwise, get buried in search results, hemorrhage traffic, and lose revenues. And I put a link in here to a Mashable. Don't take my word for it. Here's Mashable telling us what's going on. So they get this. But here's a subject I made for you. And again, Frank was saying I made it all about them, and I really have. As a hope of educating them to be better on the web. And so many of these people think that they're getting most of their business off webs now. I mean, they don't get a brick and mortar. So if you're not paying attention to your web traffic, then your web presence, then there's something you got to fix that. So, but anyway, the saga continues. We'll see what else happens with it.
Well, where in your email did you say, hey, my name is Peter Brosso, I'm with InfoCard CC, I've been doing websites for 22 years, I've done this. What do you say that in your email?
I don't.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, at the end, I've got a Peter Brosso block, at the end.
Yeah,
I'm
at the end.
Friendly Website Creator and SEO at the very end. Right, at the very end. But now it's not about me, it's about them. And I mean, and that video shows them exactly what they have to do. Just get a hold of your web guy and get it fixed.
Good.
It's helpful, And so I think that that's hitting home, at least the opening rate. I've never seen anything like it, And that A/B comparison is like when you go to anybody that's had glasses before, this lens is better or this lens, they flip things in and out, A/B. And looking at those two websites and an A/B split like that is priceless. Everybody mentions that, wow. So in each industry, I'm having to find the gold standard of what a website should look like to compare them against their competition and show them how retarded their site really is, But there you go. All right, moving on. Let's talk about what we're doing at Perch tomorrow. As a matter of fact, Dick, you wanna lead the charge on that?
Yeah. We've talked about. In fact, we've had Jim on, who's the director of Perch. It's a local high-end appliance firm, and with a tremendous showroom. And every Friday they offer a networking lunch where anyone is welcome to go. And they have a nice buffet lunch set up, and you can network and meet people there. And I've been going to it for, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, I'm not sure, maybe even longer. And I've gotten to know, I made a group of friends there. And we have lunch every week together. And then Peter and Frank came a couple weeks ago, and then they came last week, and Peter got involved with a spirited debate with the ladies.
Involved?
Yeah, and it was all the subjects that you really love to talk about in a group setting: religion, race, and politics. And I was sitting at the end of the table, and the gentleman made an observation later. He said, as the conversation got more involved and heated, your chair went further and further back. I said, yeah, I really avoid getting in those discussions in a public setting, because I just don't. It's a lose-lose as far as I'm concerned. So, anyways, I got up and I went over and talked to a couple people and talked to Jim, and the next thing you know, we're doing a podcast of the group this Friday, and and hopefully it will be a fun experiment. Everybody will be doing it like Frank is today on his iPhone. We'll be doing it on their smartphones, and Peter will be directing it from the Salton Sea, where his studio is, and it should be interesting. And it's called Overheard at Table 2, and Peter came up with that. And you might want to explain why. Frank, you just went sideways.
Yeah, I'll fix that.
You might want to explain where that came from, Peter. But it's going to be an interesting experiment, and I just hope that the group will be as animated, knowing that they're on a podcast, as they were last week, because it would be very, very interesting. So that's my intro.
The challenge, we've never tried to do it in some place, and I think that's going to be half the challenge for us to do that. And meeting you today to give you spindles like this that they could put, their phone on like that,
Right.
and then we just put it on, getting up to the right height and whatnot. So it should be interesting to see, how that works out. And I'll run it from here, and I guess we lost Frank, darn it. I'll run it from here and use Camtasia to capture it so I can edit it if need be,
Yeah.
But it should be interesting, and I think
very interesting.
it's going to cause a lot of buzz around that table, don't you think?
Yeah.
If everybody
Oh, yeah.
looks and sees these spindles
Absolutely.
with phones and people talking into them, what the heck is going on here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What a great way to market yourself and your business
Right.
by holding a live podcast in the middle of a networking event.
Yeah, right. And just a commercial for Perch. Jim is again the director, and is behind the podcast, likes it, supports it, and is it's just the culture of that company, and the one, it's in Rancho Mirage. The Rancho Mirage location is, hey, let's have some fun while we're doing business. So, am I the only one going now? So, anyways, like I said, we're going to be doing it Friday. We'll probably start at around 1 o'clock, because we get the buffet and get the eating done, and go from there. Now, I think Peter is lost. Frank, you back? I don't know if Frank can hear me. Frank, can you hear me? Well, we obviously are having multiple technical problems this morning, and so I guess I want to talk a little bit about Legal Shield from a point of view of as an associate. I market legal plans and ID theft plans in the United States, all over the country, and in Canada. Is anybody on yet? No. So I been working with a lady in Massachusetts to become an associate, and I just want to give you an example of a state that is not business friendly. There are 3 states that require a license to market Legal Shield's products: Florida, Mississippi, and Massachusetts. Florida, and Mississippi, it's $35. You get a license, and you're good to go. Well, I have found out in dealing with this mass opportunity that Massachusetts requires anyone who's selling, I'm not sure if Legal Shield products, which to have a underwriter's license. Insurance underwriter's license. God knows only why. Okay, to get that, you have to obviously take a test and pass it. So to do that, you have to go to a class, an online class, which they charge $125 for the class. Okay, and then once you pass the test, they charge you $300 for the license. And then also $57 on an annual renewable basis. So the cost of getting in business, the investment you make to get in business with Legal Shield, is $249, and that's a fair price. You don't have to buy product in stock, and this isn't a commercial, believe me. I just want to give you an idea of what we do. Okay, so in every other country, state in the country, you can get into business, home-based business for $249, and then in a couple of states you got to put another 35 in. So in Massachusetts, you got to do your 249, you got to do 300, 125, and 57. So you're talking about an extra $500 to go into business with Legal Shield in Massachusetts. Now, I talked to an associate there who I'm gonna, and I can't. Once this person signs up, I don't get any credit for her sales or anything, but I'm going to sign her up because she's a good friend and I want to do it. But I talked to an associate who was going to mentor her and help her, and I said, how do you get anybody to sign up there? She said, it's hard. She said, I did it and made the investment because I feel, it's going to pay off, and it has paid off, and it's good. But people, a lot of people don't have basically $750 to start the business, where you could do it for $249 anywhere else in the country. And the whole purpose of this is to point out a state that is just not business friendly. I'm from Connecticut. I know Massachusetts. Our headquarters up in Massachusetts, so I know what they are. And Frank, I don't know, can you hear me? No, so Frank
I
can't
can hear you.
me. Okay, you can hear me. So anyways,
I'm back.
Okay. I just want to point that out is, if you're going to start a business, don't go to Massachusetts. That's it. Go to New Hampshire. Go to Connecticut. Connecticut's not the greatest state in the world, but it's as far as business goes, but it's better than Massachusetts. So go to New Hampshire. That's a great state. You can start your business for $249. And so that's kind of what I was talking about. While we had our technical issues, Frank went home. Peter, you froze up, so you're back, right?
Yes,
I'm back.
I'm back. I'm
Okay,
catching every
everybody's back.
third
All
word,
right.
but I'm getting.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can hear you
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, I'm getting every third word. This was a dry run, not a pilot for my iPhone. I didn't have it charged enough, and my battery died, which is all of a sudden I was gone. So I'll have to remember that for tomorrow. But
Bring
Massachusetts
chargers
is not
for
business
tomorrow.
friendly, and they wonder why they're having issues. But anyway, but it's not a good place to do. I say my dad raised myself and my sister running a small business, and that was back then when the politicians let small businesses grow.
Yeah.
Today, small business is a source of revenue, not a source of employment.
Yeah.
The big difference.
It's a shame because these people like myself that start these home-based businesses are doing it for a lot of reasons, and one of them obviously makes some money, and maybe, if you all of a sudden triple the cost of entry into the business, you're hurting the so-called people that the Massachusetts politicians say they want to help. They're killing with things like this, and I guarantee you, it's not just trying to home-based business with Legal Shield. I'm sure they got them all covered one way or another. So it's just a sad situation as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got frozen out on a perch conversation.
Right.
Again, I was right at the point where I was saying what a wonderful way to introduce yourself and your business, but do a live show in a networking event.
And you can see what can happen on a live show. We just demonstrated it. There's technical issues.
Yeah. Technical issues coming back. I mean, Google just froze up on me and said, "Oh, got an error," and I'm running off my satellite now too. So
Peter, I'm wondering if maybe they heard what you said about him, and they said, "Okay, let's just zap him
Evil
for
Empire."
a minute."
That's right. I said correct. The Google gods went after me, and they took a chunk out of me.
That's right.
They did do that. What's going to be interesting in tomorrow on our maiden voyage is, of course, the subject matters that we got onto last week were just all over the board, and I think that was part of the jewel. And I also. Everybody wanted it hosted by Perch and a Perch podcast, and I said no. He cannot be connected to a live, un-PC'd podcast. We will be at Perch. They are obviously going to give us space and some electrons, and they're wireless. But that's as far as the company goes. They are not responsible for anything we say or do.
And the demographics, Peter, are multiracial and multi-ethical. So you got a real broad mix of people, and age groups they're varied age groups. It's really an interesting mix.
Yeah, Frank, you want to weigh in on that at all?
No, again, I'm gonna have to get off. I'm hearing only every third word from you guys, so I'm gonna have to say goodbye because I can't participate and I don't know what's wrong. But when we're done, let's Skype and we'll continue what we have to do for tomorrow.
Good. All right.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I don't know
And
if you guys
then
heard that or not. I hope you heard it.
oh yeah. We hear
Okay.
you fine.
Bye.
You're good. Bye.
I just can't hear you.
Okay,
Bye.
that's probably a good thing, huh? Huh, Dick? It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
hearing aids.
Right.
What, honey? What'd you say?
Yeah.
My hearing aids aren't working too well, whatever. But so yeah, so the challenge tomorrow will of course be using spindles to get the phones at the right height, and it's going to be something else. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about the road show. I finally got off my ass and got us a place to do our road show. And our road show is essentially going to be the 20-20-20 plan, where you talk for 20 minutes and then the next person talks for 20 minutes. And so it's really fast paced. You can cover more topics. You have to be very succinct at it. So we're going to do it at Perch, 8 a.m. on the 8th of October. That's pretty exciting, huh, Dick?
Yeah, it is. It is very.
Finally, huh?
Yeah,
I finally
right.
got off my butt
Right.
and did something. I thought you'd be so proud of me for that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk, and do nothing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
not good.
Now we just have to come up for a name for it and then go from there.
I don't think a road show is right, but and then I'll make a website. And speaking of that, we've got the website for the Perch conversation up already, called overheardattable2.com. And that's a TWO, not the number 2, .com. Got that up and ready for us to go. And then I put up a new 101 Small Business Mastermind podcast or site as well, which uses the same template as the Overheard at Table 2. And I've spent the last 3 days getting all of our stuff in there, and God, what a work of labor of love that is. But it'll be nice because we'll be able to put stuff up right away, and they're succinct and just so people can see without having to hunt through the site. Right. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And then last but not least, I want to talk about my experience with Legal Shield. I've been a Legal Shield member now for almost 2 years, Dick?
Yeah, close to it, yeah.
And never used it. I never had to use it. So this week I used it. I had a person, another swimming pool company, as a matter of fact, want to finally do their website, and they wanted a contract. So I wrote one. I think I shared that with you too.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, probably good idea to have Legal Shield review it. So I called Legal Shield off my card, and they said, no, just call your provider. Hang on, I got a cough again. So I called my provider, which is Parker Stanberry, LLC, and they gave me a case number. Got my information and said an attorney will be with you. And sure enough, within the hour, an attorney was with me, and I sent my stuff to him, and I expect to hear back from him today. Went as advertised, smooth and easy. I was pretty delighted at that. And I'm going to use them again today. I'm going to get another account, and I want to find a template for a royalty deal that I'm making. So I'm pretty darn happy with Legal Shield and what they're doing for me. So there's a testimonial for you.
Well, that's great. Thank you. It's good to hear it when it goes as advertised. And I was talking to another member at a function this week, and he's used it a couple times in the last month, and he had the same experience. And that's good to hear, because it is a great service, and you use it. What it's meant for is review contracts, do these type of things that would normally cost you $300 or $400. You can get it done for $19.95 a month. So
your membership fee.
Yep, absolutely good to hear. So,
all right, well, Dick, we're up at the end here. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I just would. I'd like to just do one little commercial about Legal Shield and my website. I just posted it on my website, richardbentley.us. an interview that by a security publication of the Legal Shield CEO Jeff Bell, and the title is he compares Legal Shield to Uber, and it's really an interesting article. So if anybody has time, visit my site and read it. It's pretty good. So that
I'll have it in the show notes. I'll have it in the show notes for them to go take a look at that. But what Legal Shield is doing in the legal world is like what Uber's doing in the car world. And service stuff. So that's great. That's awesome. I mean, I'm tickled to death. You hear people who have difficult times with it because I think they're difficult people, but for what I'm doing, it's awesome. So there you go.
Well, one thing, there are difficult people, but you're dealing with human beings, and you're going to get somebody that may not be professional, is not right. If when you deal with your law firm, if you're not happy, call your member services and say, I just dealt with so-and-so at Parker Stanbury, and he was not professional, he didn't service me. They will take care of it. There is a recourse for that, because you are dealing with human beings. They're not all going to be the way you'd like them to be, but there is a recourse to fixing those problems.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the revised contract looks like. And I'll probably share that. I'll share that next week on the show. And what my when you first saw me writing legal documents, you said, "Jesus, are you a lawyer too?" But when you've been around them, enough, you just kind of know what to put in there. But clearly, I'm not a lawyer, so it'll be interesting to see what they do to that contract that I authored out there. So interesting. All right, Dick.
All right.
Say good night.
Good night, Dick.
Good show. Hang on.